In this video, we're going to have a little look at a question based on accruals. So you are working on the accounts for the year ended the 31st of December 2022. You are told that there is an opening prepayment for electricity expenses of £120. The bank summary shows payments for electricity expenses during the year of £1,450, and an electricity bill of £310 was received on the 5th of January 2023 for the quarter ending the 31st of December 22. You are asked to prepare the electricity expense account, closing it off to the statement of profit or loss. So for a question like this, the best thing to do is to work down it in a methodical way. So working down line by line, we are told that there is an opening prepayment for electricity expenses of £120. Well, that was already there. That was my balance brought down. So I am going to have to reverse that because it is likely that within this period, that has now been accounted for and there is no reason for that adjustment to be here now. So in my electricity expense account, like what I'm asked to do, I need to record this reversal of a prepayment. So we know that a prepaid expense would ordinarily be a debit in my prepayment account because I have paid it early, whilst in my electricity expense, it is going to be a credit, ordinarily when I initially post it. It is going to be a credit in the electricity expense account because ultimately I have paid it, which would be the debit, but then I've had to remove it at my last financial period. Well, now I want to undo what I've done. I now want to treat it as if it was payable and it was an expense that I should have paid for the business. So therefore, I need to do a debit entry in order to reverse my prepayment of £120 in my electricity expense account for this period. That's my first point done. My second point then, the bank summary shows a payment of electricity expenses during the year of £1,450. Well, this is money that has been paid for the bank in respect of electricity. Therefore, in my bank account, as it's money going out, it's got to be a credit entry. In order to achieve our double entry, we know that for every credit, we must also have a debit. Well, our electricity expenses, if we think to dead click, all expenses should always be a debit. So therefore, my bank account amount of £1,450 in my electricity expense account, we would account for in the usual way, as if there wasn't any accruals or prepayments concerned, and therefore is going to be a debit here. My final point is that an electricity bill of £310 was received on the 5th of January 2023 for the quarter ending the 31st of December 2022. So the electricity that I had then was all in relation to my last financial year. However, I have not received my bill until 2023 after my financial year has ended. Therefore, I have got an accrued expense here. I have received the service or the goods, but I have not yet paid for them up until after our year end has finished. So it's got to be an accrued expense. Well, we already know that a prepaid expense would ordinarily be a debit in our prepayments account and a credit in our expense account. Well, if I am doing an accrued expense, I am saying that it is the polar opposite to my prepaid expense. So therefore, in my accruals account, my accrued expense for this electricity will be a credit, whilst in my electricity expense account, my accruals has got to be a debit balance of £310. Therefore, my final thing to do is going to be to total my accounts up because I've dealt with all 3 points there. There's no other financial information we're given in this question. But I need to be confident whether I'm going to transfer my balance to my profit or loss, or whether I am going to complete it as a balance carried down to be sent over to my statement of financial position. Well, as we're in the electricity expense account here, and our expense accounts would usually be posted to our statement of profit or loss, we are, of course, going to transfer our balance of £1,845 across to our PRL, which, of course, is going to be a credit in order to get my debits and my credit balances to equate to one another here.